From the Figure 4 Online Studios in beautiful Bothell, Washington, exclusively at WrestlingObserver.com, you're listening to The Bryan and Vinny Show with your hosts, Bryan Alvarez and Big Vinny V.
All right, everybody, it's the Bryan Vinny Show here. It is September 24, 2017, figure4online.com/wrestlingobserver.com. It is the WWE No Mercy post-show here. Show is over. And hey, it's over. What do you want me to say? You know, this was...
about all I got, honestly.
This was like one of those old WCW pay-per-views where they actually had a really good undercard. There were some very good matches, and then there was a horrible match with Enzo Amore, and then the most underwhelming main event you've ever seen in your whole life. Wasn't like it was bad. It's just, if you remember like the last time that Brock and Braun were to match together, and it was wanton destruction and violence, and the place was going nuts.
This wasn't that.
It all built up in your mind, and then they go in there and they do a wrestling match in the ring. They didn't break anything. Braun didn't even run with a head full of steam and bonk into a post.
That's true.
Like, even my one spot that I get to talk about in every Braun Strowman match they took away from me. Hideously underwhelming main event. And that left us with a show that when it was over, everyone was like, nah. But it was really good. Until that damn Enzo Amore came out.
There was some good stuff in the middle of the show. That's true. But yeah, it felt like a WWE pay-per-view that in many ways I had seen before. Even if some of the matchups were new, they didn't feel that much different than other things I had seen before. It just felt like a rerun of a pay-per-view.
Man, I liked it up until Enzo. This fucking guy. They're in Las Vegas or Los Angeles. And Enzo Amore, Mr. L.A., all the big stars he hangs out with in L.A. He's a big deal in L.A. All he can do is talk about L.A. Drives people fucking out of their minds. They go to L.A., nobody gave two shits about Enzo. And then he wins the title.
Of course.
Dude. And you know what that means? That means for months now, it's gonna be the Jinder Mahal. All of you that asked for Enzo to win the championship, which actually was far less people than were excited when Jinder won the title. It's going to be one big show after another where Enzo surely is going to lose this time, but he flukes his way into a win in a bad match over and over and over and over again.
The unique thing there is that Enzo, I think, is supposed to be cheered.
Yeah.
Now, since the first time I laid eyes on Enzo Amore, I thought natural heel, and they've always had him get cheered. Sometimes on his own. Some people do like him. But he was in the post-show afterwards. We were all hanging out in the kitchen, putting food away, and he's talking, and Lawler's looking at him, and all I can imagine Jerry Lawler thinking was, 30 years ago, I'd have made so much money with you as a heel manager in Memphis. Pushed Jimmy Hart out the window, gone with you as the top manager. I beat up your crew and then beat you up twice a year. It'd be awesome. But he is the cowardly fluke babyface champion of the Cruiserweight division.
Yeah, what a great division.
Exclusive to 205 Live.
I will be jumping on this 205 Live. Let's watch that after this Lucha Underground is over. Now that Enzo's going to light the thing on fire.
I don't think one person has suggested that.
You know what? I actually don't think, of all the suggestions, I don't think that one person has suggested 205
Somebody
Live.
did go through and catalog, it was seriously 60 different ideas.
Yeah.
And that was not one of them.
No. That's crazy.
I guess we should talk about this show.
Sure. I mean, that's our job.
WWE No Mercy, September 24th, 2017. Miz versus Jason Jordan. What this felt like early was every Miz match I ever saw with a few more suplexes. By the end, I confirmed. It was every Miz match I ever saw with a few more suplexes.
But there was a difference. They were in Los Angeles, and so Miz was a huge babyface, and they hated Jason Jordan. They chanted, "Let's go, Miz." They chanted, "Miz is awesome." Mm-hmm. They booed every suplex. They cheered everything that Miz did. If only they knew that he sold his house and was moving to Vegas. Maybe they wouldn't have given him that reaction. But in storyline, he lives in L.A., and so he was a big babyface here.
So yeah, this should have worked a lot better than it did. On paper, you've got the most obnoxious man in the world facing a big, scary, highly trained guy, throwing him around in a very cool, impressive manner, fighting off 3 men, suplexing one dude into 2 others. But it was the wrong guy this crowd wanted to see. And so they cheered the wrong things, were flat for most of it. And finally, Jordan hit a schoolboy, but the ref was distracted. And in the midst of the same distraction, Miz hit the skull-crushing finale for the win.
I thought it was pretty good. Well, I guess I thought it was pretty
It certainly
good.
was not bad.
When you really break it down, everything that you hate about Miz was in there. Like his kicks, the yes kicks were just terrible. Mm-hmm. But they were okay because the fans were so into it. That was the thing. It was like a Hulk Hogan Rock match. It's like technically
That's actually a good comparison.
It wasn't very good, but the fans were so into it that it felt like a special match. So
I don't know if I would say special.
I thought it was pretty
It
special.
was a fine pay-per-view opener.
I was cheering for The Miz. I mean, come on. That's a pretty special match right there. Although Jason Jordan was awesome.
There's some fairness to that.
Jason was awesome. He did all of his big suplexes. And then he just was booed. Mm-hmm. And then he still cut a babyface promo amidst all the booing.
I guess.
It was bizarre.
Everyone booed as he said, what did he say? He was disappointed he could not overcome Miz and the Miz Taraj. That's really the best name they could think of. He did not respect the Miz. He wanted a rematch. He said these fans were being good-natured when they said you suck at his dad, Kurt Angle, but Miz, you really suck. That's a quote. You really suck.
Yeah.
Sick burn, dude.
Can they call him like the Mizan-entourage?
Mizan-entourage?
Mizan-entourage.
That's better. That is better.
Mizan-entourage. That would be too hard for everybody to say.
Awesome Taraj.
How about just...
That took no seconds.
That's terrible, though.
It's better than Miz Taraj.
What did you say?
Awesome Taraj.
Awesome Taraj?
Yeah.
No.
It's better than Miz Taraj.
Oz Taraj.
That's not better than Miz Taraj.
That's better, actually. That rolls off the tongue better.
Okay.
They could wear ostrich suits.
Yes.
I mean, Bo Dallas going to look worse.
I know.
I mean, come on.
I wasn't being sarcastic. I want to see this.
It would be awesome.
I want to see Miz,
Who
Bo,
gives a
and
shit?
Kurt in
Well,
bird costumes.
I want to hear an argument about this. Like, you're going to say they'd be comedy geeks? Well, too late. You'd say no one's going to take them serious? Too late.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can say.
The only thing that would change is that it would be more entertaining.
Yeah. The Oz Taraj.
For this to
in
really work, by
ostrich
the way,
outfits.
they
What?
would show up in bird costumes, and everyone would look at them strange and confused, but the guys would never act any different. They wouldn't act like birds.
No, they would pretend they weren't in an outfit, but they were.
Yeah. As far as they would be concerned, they were just dressed
They're
normal.
they're just part of the Oz Taraj.
Yeah.
This is so much better than the Miz Taraj.
I had more
Where,
fun.
like, Bo Dallas is a pirate or whatever the fuck he is, and Curtis Axel is just boring.
Just a boring guy in a
I
suit.
mean, trust me, this is better.
Yeah. I've had more fun in this conversation than I think I had during most of the show. Finn Balor versus Bray Wyatt in a, I'm not making this up, man-to-man match.
Well, let's get the negative out of the way first. This is the stupidest fucking idea for a match I've ever seen. A man-to-man match.
That's what they called it.
Because you see, when you put on paint, you become something else.
I guess so.
So as someone on Twitter noted, why didn't they just have a paint on a pole match? Like, if Finn gets the paint, he can put it on himself, and then he'll win. But if he can't get to the paint, I mean, he will surely lose. Right?
I guess.
So,
Well, no, because he didn't have the paint here, but he won.
my two problems with this are, it was a man-to-man match, which, by the way, the announcers claimed that Bray Wyatt had suckered him into a man-to-man match. They used those exact words. He suckered Finn Balor into a man-to-man match. And also they did the spot at the end where, as Finn is going up top for a double foot stomp, Bray does his bridge, and Finn is so scared. He's a grown man, and I know he's a man because it's a man-to-man match. He's so scared he can't jump onto him because he did a bridge. If a guy that fat did a bridge, I'd be like blown away. I'd be stunned. I wouldn't be scared.
Would you still jump on him?
Hell yeah, I'd jump right on his stomach.
Yeah.
He's giving me his stomach.
He's feeding you a stomach.
He is feeding me. Now, with that said, this was the best Bray Wyatt match in so long. I asked on Twitter, and the closest somebody could come up with was the 2015 Hell in a Cell. That's 2 years ago. So this is pretty astonishing that he had a good match for the first time in 2 years.
This was better than his match with the worms on the mat or in the haunted house in the fridge. You're right. This is better than a lot of Bray Wyatt matches. What were my takeaways from this? Finn, since he didn't have the demon paint, he had some hideous new grayish blue gear. Dingy gray, doesn't look good on anyone, even a guy with a physique like Finn's. Crowd was into this. They took turns doing stuff for several minutes. And then finally, Finn hit a pair of super drop kicks into the corner, hit the coup de grace for the win. This was a rematch from SummerSlam. I totally expect it to be a rematch on the next pay-per-view as well.
I think it's over, dude. Babyface won in the end. I think it's finished.
We'll see.
We're moving on to something else.
I don't ever feel like anything's done in WWE. I always feel like it's just everything is just a setup for something else.
I thought this was a very good match. I'd give this 3.5 stars.
I, in fact, went 3.
Well,
it was
I
good.
thought it was better.
It was good. Asuka hype video. All I can think is how badly are they going to fuck her up?
Dude, no one has any faith.
No, nor should we.
I mean, you probably shouldn't, but I mean, come on. Some people it's worked. They didn't screw up Goldberg. She's basically a female Goldberg. So if he can just do the same damn thing, then it can work. It's not like she's Bayley and he just doesn't get it. And boy, was that obvious on this show here tonight. But she debuts at TLC.
Yes. I believe it was Dasha interviewing the bar.
No.
Kayla?
It was not Kayla. It was, what the hell's her name? Anyway, she's Charlie.
Charlie.
She's very cute.
Charlie interviewed the bar. They have a terrible name. They ran down the Shield for a while.
Problem is they should use the term the bar, not like we set the bar, but like the horrific bar at the mouth of the Columbia River. Is that what they call it? The bar?
Like a obstruction in the water that sinks ships?
Yeah, where the ship's all...
Like a sandbar?
You have to have like a professional... They literally helicopter in special, highly trained captains to get every ship across the bar.
They do?
Yeah. They should have like crashing waves on their Titantron. They're the bar. No one can cross them.
Well, I'm sold.
Why not?
It's much better than just...
Yeah, we're a piece of wood that's higher than everybody else.
I guess.
I like my idea way better.
It is. So one of my problems with the show, the bell rang for this, the third match in the show. The show is 56 minutes old. And like nothing had happened. There were 2 matches. Why is this all taking so long? Even the pay-per-views are stretched out for forever. So they're doing this match. It's a formula tag match, but it's pretty good. And then I believe it was a Seth got a hot tag and hit a slingshot, I think.
Yes, he did the old slingshot into the post.
I've not seen it in a long time. Not the turnbuckle, you know, the post.
He tried to play Sergeant Slaughter.
He did. He did, in fact, overshoot his target. And instead of having his head stop near the post, his head stopped around the post, with the post deep inside his head.
He bit the post with his teeth and knocked a whole bunch of them out.
He either knocked them out or broke them or jammed them up into his jaw. Nothing good. The teeth are not where they're supposed to be. That I can confirm. Now, he's a tough mofo, so his response in having his teeth destroyed was to make sure everyone at home got a good camera angle out of it.
He literally did the old Mick Foley smile at the camera to show that you have no teeth anymore. He's fucking bleeding everywhere.
Yep.
And he just decides... He didn't decide. He just kept wrestling.
He rolled outside for a minute just to make sure his mouth is not going to fall off. And it didn't. So he said, well, hell with it. They're gone now.
Nothing he can do now.
Yeah.
Not going to glue him in right now. Let's keep wrestling.
Let's keep wrestling. And they were supposed to like another 10 minutes. So, yeah, he is a tough bastard. So the story of this match was, even though Cesaro was the one who lost teeth and just kept going like nothing happened, the story of the match was Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose are indestructible. You could light them on fire. You could shoot them with guns. You could drop buildings on them. It doesn't matter. They'll kick out of anything. They kicked out of every finish under the sun. They kicked out of a super powerbomb off the top rope where you land on your partner.
Who had just been hit with white noise.
That was the one move in this match where
everyone always complains about kicking out of finishers and that sort of thing, but to me it's sort of like, well, it's WWE. That's what they do. In a big match with stars, they're going to kick out of finishes, so, like, just get over it. That's what they do. But when Sheamus hit the white noise on Dean Ambrose, and then Cesaro did a middle rope powerbombing Seth Rollins onto Dean Ambrose's body, and then he kicked out, I was like, bullshit. I no longer can suspend my disbelief. That one was too preposterous.
So Dean and Seth here, they survived the plague. They survived wild beasts. They survived scorching heat and freezing cold. And after all of this, they hit their moves and they won. It was a much better match than I'm making it sound.
This was a great match, but listen to me. Sometimes, I'll give you a good example right here. So I thought this match was great. I was tweeting about it, and then somebody in the company texted me and just said, if you think it's great, just wait. Then by the end of the show, of course, everyone on Twitter is like, oh, well, what was so great? Oh, what do we have to wait for? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Well, what it was, Roman Reigns and John Cena was supposed to be like a WrestleMania caliber match where they kick out of all of their moves and they do just the best match they could possibly have and they tear the whole house down. It didn't happen.
No.
But that's what their intention was. That's what that match was supposed to be. That was supposed to be a career-defining match for Roman Reigns, and the last time you're going to see John Cena for a long time. It didn't work out that way, but that's what they intended going in. On paper, that Roman Reigns-John Cena match they thought was just going to be the best match people had seen all night by far. Here's my point. When these guys were putting this match together, on paper, if you imagine that you're going to do a finish where Dean Ambrose hits a double underhook DDT, his normal double arm DDT, how can you create a match where before that you have one guy take a white noise and the other guy get powerbombed off the middle rope onto him and kick out and not think that the DDT is going to be anticlimactic? On paper, shouldn't that be obvious? And sure enough, nothing could follow that giant powerbomb off the middle rope spot. That was the peak of the match. They went a little too long, and then they did their finish. And still an excellent match, but that did hurt the match. I'm not going to lie.
They showed a replay of Cesaro going tooth first into the post, and watching it on a replay, knowing how it all worked out, it looks like he was doing it on purpose. I'm sure he was not.
I strongly suspect he did not.
I guarantee you.
Bite the post on purpose.
I guarantee you he did not throw himself tooth first in the post on purpose, but that's how it appeared.
You know, when he first lost his tooth, I was scouring Twitter because I thought somebody has to have done a screenshot of this. I've got to see this move because I didn't want to rewind it because God knows it's Apple TV. I couldn't find it. And the point was, they didn't show it. And I was like, if you fuckers don't show this, I mean, if I were Cesaro, I'd quit. Like, you go tooth feet into the posts and they don't even bother showing a replay. But to their credit, when the match was over, the guy lost teeth. It's going to be an expensive medical bill. But you know what? At least they replayed it 55 times to show how horrible it was and what a man he was for continuing.
Get the most out of the spot.
That's right. At least it was on tape.
We had Alexa versus Bayley versus Nia versus Sasha versus Emma. In the we don't have a program, so let's just throw everyone into the ring at the same time match. It was a 5-way. Check that, a fatal 5-way.
Yes.
Still don't know why it was so important to call it that.
It's always been fatal.
No one died.
But it's always been fatal.
False advertising.
Well, what do you want me to do? You want me to write him a letter?
Go kill someone. No, I don't want anyone dead. I just think it's stupid how it's added to the list of stupid things.
Stupid branding?
Yes.
Oh, man, that's a big fucking list, dude.
It is.
That's a ream of dot matrix paper.
And I'll be honest, it's low on the list, but it's on the list. So the most interesting action early was between Nia and Alexa, who were the two heels, but they were obviously not friends anymore. So they had the betrayal angle going on between them, and they both blamed the other. Nia got Alexa and Sasha on her shoulders, and these are not large people, but they're grown-ups. And she carried them into the middle of the ring. She squatted them, then she did a Samoan drop, and the crowd loved it.
See, Nia is The Rock's cousin. It's L.A. She was over here in this match. My favorite Nia moment was when Nia went for a cover and Alexa broke it up, and Nia said, and I quote, "What's your problem?" I'm like, well, her problem is you're trying to win her belt. That's her problem.
So Nia ends up on the apron, and to make a long story short, the other 4 women all conspire to get her off the apron with a powerbomb to the floor, where she landed right on the back of her head. Utterly terrifying. Everyone ends up hitting moves and breaking up pins, and I'll be totally honest, I was distracted by your young daughter at the finish.
Oh, that's right.
I am aware Alexa Bliss won and escaped with her title. I couldn't tell you how.
Yeah, the baby discovered that Vinny had a computer and also a phone.
Yes.
And so she
And the
proceeded
phone could play Wheels on the Bus.
to climb onto his lap and demand that he put the phone on YouTube.
Yes.
She doesn't know any words, by the way, but it was abundantly clear what she wanted.
Her sign language skills are tremendous.
She is very good at signing, but there's no sign for YouTube. We had to tell you that much.
No, but she could point at the button she wanted to hit.
Yep, she knows exactly what to do, so she played the songs and took up all of your computer and phone time.
Yes.
And then we had to take the phone away from her to go to bed, and she held onto that phone. It was like it was a kettlebell.
If you fell out of a helicopter and grabbed onto the landing landing rail to save your life, that is the same grip strength you use for my phone.
You could not pry it out of her hands. It was pretty amazing.
I thought I may have to go up to bed with her.
Yeah. So anyway, they in fact, Nia hits the post, body's flying, and Alexa just DDTs and pins Bayley. Because Bayley's a geek. That's the story of the match.
A DDT and a pin, huh?
Yeah, that was it.
Bayley is a geek. Well, it sounds like I didn't miss much.
You missed the fact that the finish was a DDT on Bayley for a clean pin.
Well, there's that.
Out of nowhere. Like a geek.
That was the theme for most of the show.
Maybe it was Southern California versus Northern California. They thought they'd get the winner over by pinning the San Jose girl.
That's possible. John Cena versus Roman Reigns. If you put someone in a time machine in the middle of the Monday Night Wars, dropped them out of the time machine and said, watch this match, they'd watch it for 3 minutes, and they think, well, clearly, this John Cena fella here is the biggest babyface star in the company, and they must really, 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 really want this Roman Reigns fella to be hated. That's the only possible reaction to this, at least the first part. Cena was involved being jolly, and the crowd was chanting, go home or get out or whatever, so he teased walking out, and Roman went and attacked him and jumped him and threw him back in the ring, and the first at least 7 or 8 minutes of this was just Roman beating up John in the flattest, most boring, most unenthusiastic, most uninspiring manner possible, and then he put on a chin lock.
Yeah, that was the problem with this match. They wanted it to be like a WrestleMania epic match, but the first half was so goddamn boring. I don't know if maybe Cena just can't go anymore, and so he was just saving himself for the second half of the match, but he didn't expend any energy for the first 10 minutes of this match. He just laid there and sold and laid there. It was ungodly boring.
So he puts on the chin lock. The crowd chants boring here in this alleged greatest match of the year. Roman's laughing at them. That was where, that exact moment, when he laughed at the fans chanting boring as he held this chin lock, that's where I determined this must be their idea to get him booed. They have to want to get him booed as badly as possible. And then the last 10 minutes was a big WWE match. Big move, kick out, lie there. Submission, struggle, get the ropes, lie there. Big move, kick out, lie there. Finisher, kick out. Second finisher, kick out. Third and fourth finisher. Now it's a finish. And that's how it went down. Roman kicked out of a super AA. They teased the announce desks, or they set up the announce desks. Roman ended up spearing Cena through the announce desk, which is just a normal spear where they fall through it. In the process, he came down on his own head, looked like he broke his neck. They kept showing replays. I kept getting sicker and sicker. He's alive. Hopefully he's okay. Cena hit the third and fourth AAs of the match. No exaggeration. Roman kicked out. And then Roman just hit a Superman punch and a spear and pinned him.
Passing the torch, baby. Clean in the middle.
So, it was time for the most booed hand-raising of all time.
That was way up there.
It was actually hysterical. The match is over. They've gotten their breath. The replays have been shown. Roman's music's playing. And Cena goes up to Roman. And everyone starts to boo. And he raises Roman's hand. Everyone boos both of them. Roman leaves. And Cena is left. For anyone else, I would have said to soak in the cheers. Cena soaked in the reaction. There were some cheers. There were some boos. Eventually, they liked him. There was a thank you Cena chant and all. But he just, in the ring, he smiled. He bowed. He waved. He left the ring. Said hi to some youngsters. Gave him his sweatbands. He looked around. He smiled. He walked up the ramp, and that was that.
This guy totally played it up like he was retiring. Looked around at the people. Listened. Soaked it in. Teased going up the ramp. Came back for another moment. Went back up the ramp again. He even was touching the video wall on the way out, like, it's the last time I'll ever touch this wall again.
That's right.
So anyway, I'm sure Vince knows and the top guys, but like the majority of the WWE locker room, apparently, he's done. And no one knows when he's going to be back. Mm-hmm. They presume he'll be back for Mania season. But he does have that Transformers movie that he's going to film. Mm-hmm. And they may even do a story where Roman claims he retired John Cena, for all I know. I don't know what they're going to do. Cena may say goodbye on Raw tomorrow. I don't know. He may not even be there. But they played it up like this was the end. Big time played it up like it was the end. And I think he's gone for a while. Passed the torch. I have no idea who the new top babyface is going to be. I guess Roman.
That's the plan.
Can you imagine? Hell of a match. Thought it was a great match after the midpoint.
It was very clearly the best match on the show.
But the first half was very, very boring. I don't know what they were thinking. Like the fans are going to get into Cena lying there for 10 minutes? It didn't work if that was the plan.
Angle was on the phone backstage when Miz and company interrupted. He wanted to do Miz TV on Raw with Roman Reigns as his guest. Angle said, good plan. That was it. That will be on Raw. At this point, I hope you all just turned off the show. Found something better to do with your Sunday evening. Neville versus Enzo Amore.
I got to go back and watch this. I don't want to watch this match again, but I have to watch this match again. Did Enzo Amore get any shine at the beginning?
No.
He was beaten from the opening bell?
Enzo in this match had 2 offensive maneuvers, one of them illegal.
Because all I could remember in this match was Enzo selling and selling and selling and selling and selling and selling and selling. And I thought, this is the most idiot-proof match I've ever seen in my life.
Not even Enzo can fuck up taking a beating.
Yeah, he just takes a beating the whole time. And then finally, Neville goes up top and he misses a Phoenix Splash. And I'm thinking, I can't wait to see Enzo's comeback. Like, what do you do with this guy? He could barely do anything. Enzo does one diving DDT, and then he gets cut off as he tries to dive. That was his entire comeback. Has there ever in the history of wrestling been a match that went, how long did this go? 7 minutes, 8 minutes, 9 minutes?
About that.
I'm going to find out the time. Has there ever been a match that went that long and included a championship change where the winner did 2 moves in the entire match?
And one was illegal.
I can't believe that's ever happened. Even Ric Flair. Has this ever happened in the history of wrestling?
I'm thinking of like the weird-ass champions like Vince McMahon and David Arquette.
But those didn't go this long.
I see. I don't remember. That's why I'm thinking about them.
Even those Vince McMahon matches, he had horrible offense because you can remember it to this day, like his punches.
That's true.
I mean, Enzo got
Solid
one
point.
move, and then there was the finish. One move in a whole match.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks.
Neville beat him and beat him and beat him and beat him and beat him. Oh, do we mention...
Oh, this match was 10 minutes and 40 seconds long. Enzo Amore got one move in 10 minutes and 40 seconds.
Neville was on offense for, in all seriousness, 10 minutes and 10 seconds at least. Probably a lot more.
Dude.
Do we mention Enzo's promo before the match, just making fun of Neville for being ugly over and over again?
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
We did have the diving DDT for a near fall, because even in this match where Enzo gets one move, there must be 75 kickouts in every match. And yes, Enzo kicked Neville in the balls and pinned him.
Yeah, let me go over this fucking finish here. So Enzo gets his one move in his comeback. Even fucking Vinny had like 2 moves in his comeback. He gets one move. Neville cuts him off. Neville beats the shit out of him and throws him over the timekeeper wall, and Enzo's dead. Neville gets in the ring, and the ref begins to count out Enzo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Corey goes, he's never going to make it in. 8. Suddenly, Enzo stands up holding the championship. Neville doesn't leave the ring, but when Enzo holds up the title, this causes the referee to stop counting. Why? I don't have any fucking idea. Enzo then gets in the ring with the belt. The referee takes the belt. Enzo kicks his balls. Enzo gets the pin. This was probably... It wasn't worse than War Games. But this was the worst WWE match of the year, I think. Had to be. Right? What's worse?
Nothing comes to mind. They don't have a lot of terrible matches. They don't have a lot of very good matches either. But they're very good at putting out bland, average, mediocre product. This fell short of that. Whatever the other worst match was, I'm sure it also involved Enzo. Then the main event, it was Braun Strowman versus Brock Lesnar. So, Braun is the unstoppable. He was a monster among, well, beasts here, actually. He no-sold all of Brock's offense. He stuffed a double leg, which had me crying with laughter.
Hey, if you're going to train for Brock, you got to work on your sprawls.
It actually would have been better if he had sprawled. He just stood there and made it abundantly clear this is not a sport. This is a movie or theater or whatever. But yeah, Brock hit one German. Braun just popped up, hit a huge chokeslam.
That should have been the end of the match right there, new champ.
Probably.
Very disappointed.
Yep. So Brock kept going for F5s, but he couldn't get them because Braun was too big and it hurt Brock's back. Also evidence this is not a sport. They kept making it abundantly clear this is not a real fight. And most of Brock's matches...
yeah.
Most of Brock's matches, I mean, you know they're at work, but they don't feel like it.
Well, hold on. You got to think about some of Brock's opponents. Samoa Joe has done, I mean, not professional mixed martial arts, but he trains.
He did a lot of training.
Goldberg trains.
Yes.
I mean, these guys, you can go in there and you can attempt to recreate somewhat of a fake real fight. Braun Strowman lifts weights. So all he knows how to do is lift things up.
Yeah.
So he did a lot of lifting.
He did do a lot of lifting.
And there was not a lot of grappling.
Very little. Brock locked a Kimura. Braun sold a while, but then as soon as he got out, he hit a giant spine buster. Brock hit about a half dozen Germans, but he still couldn't get the F5. Crowd was not into this as much as you would have expected, at least not as much as I expected.
Because look at the hype for this match, all the stuff they did on pay-per-view, and all of the violence and
they were in fact demanding tables at one point.
Yeah, they wanted tables, they wanted violence, they wanted things to break, they wanted just. And instead, they had a wrestling match in the ring,
and really not a very good one.
No, it's
because as we noted, Braun Strowman is not a very good wrestler.
No, he's best served destroying things.
He's a great Godzilla.
Yeah,
he's a terrible Gotch. How's that?
Terrible.
All right. So Braun hit his third power slam, but he couldn't make a cover.
He's worse at wrestling than I'm at analogies.
That's right. Again, this is the same thing they did earlier in the show. Just hit your finisher over and over and over again, and it won't be the finish. And Brock was the only one who got it, I think. Brock says, I'm not having you kick out of my finisher. I'm going to save it till the end. And finally, he hit an F5, and he won.
This is exactly like the Ring of Honor pay-per-view on Friday, where it was Cody and fucking Minoru Suzuki in the main event for the World Championship of Ring of Honor. And they do a match. They're short on time. Cody hits one, whatever his finish is called, the roll of the dice gimmick, and pins him. It's like, what? Because when you do a show where up and down the show, everybody kicks out of 100 moves, when you do a main event and one move is the finish, it's anticlimactic. It's just the way things are. That's why, I'm not saying this is the way things should be done, but it's why in the old days, you saved the big shit for the main event and you built your way up there.
Yes.
You didn't kick out everything on the undercard. You saved that for the end of the show. That's why it was done that way. Now, granted, you can't do that with wrestling anymore. The fans, they want more. But if you're going to give them more, then I guess at the end of the day, you cannot be disappointed if fans think your main event was anticlimactic. Because that's exactly what this was.
So that was it. That was No Mercy.
I thought it was a good show. It's not like the main event was bad. It was just a letdown.
Only one thing was very, very bad, and even that was at least bad in a fun way.
Enzo Amore was bad in a fun way?
I can laugh at how bad that was.
I can't. I mean, I can laugh as I bury it,
Sure.
but I sure wasn't fucking laughing when I watched it. I was like, I paid literally cents for this match.
That's right.
It's terrible. So anyway, that's the show, everybody.
Yeah.
And that's it for here. Short show, but fear not, we'll be back on Tuesday with a long show because it is Retro, Raw, and Nitro. And I'll also be back later on tonight with Dave. And we got a 2-hour Observer Live up for subscribers right now if you want a preview of this show after it's over. That's always fun. So check that out. And that is it. We will talk to you again after a while.
Adios.